Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well, and let's have a continuation of our first topic for the midterm. So last time, or in the last video, I have presented to you the different steps in testing hypothesis. Okay, so we have there the 5 steps. Step 1 is to state the null and alternative hypothesis. Step 2 is to set the level of significance. Step 3 is to compute for the test statistic, and then step 4 is to determine the critical value, and then step 5 is to make the decision. And also in the last video, I have discussed to you what is data. So when we talk about data, usually it talks about the raw information that we gather from the different respondents natin, or they are the first-hand information na nakuha natin, and hindi pa siya meaningful because hindi pa siya naka-undergo in a statistical treatment, or hindi pa na-manage ng mabuti or managed in a meaningful way. And we also discussed the different types of data. So we have there the qualitative and quantitative data. So if we talk about qualitative data, those are categorical data by which we can get data na ang result or the data is in words, or ginagamitan siya ng so sorry if marinig niyo yung sigaw or maingay dito, so I'm sorry for that. So wait lang. Okay, so I'm sorry for the noise, if narinig niyo yung noise in my background. So going back, when we talk about qualitative data, those are data that are categorical. Meaning to say, it can be answerable by words, or using our 5 senses. Now, kapag quantitative naman, those are numerical data. Ibig sabihin, more on numbers, or any numbers that we can get. It may be infinite or countable na mga data. Okay? And also, last time, or in the last video, I have discussed the data management. So, data management, it talks about how you will handle the data that you have collected and how you will manage your data, para maging meaningful siya, or para show natin or pakita natin sa ating mga audience, in a meaningful manner, I mean in a orderly manner yung ating data. Okay, so parang ito yung ating results and discussion, kapag sa research yung pag-usapan natin, or ito din yung process on how we will handle our data, like sa chapter 4 or chapter 3 ng ating study. Okay, now this afternoon, let's continue our topic, and we will cover the planning and conducting an experiment or study. Okay? So, first there, wait lang, excuse me. Okay, so, sorry for that. First is we have the planning and conducting an experiment or study, which is the methods of data collection natin. So, if we talk about our research study, our research paper way back when we are in high school or junior high school or senior high school, syempre, after natin ma-propose, or after tayo makabuo ng chapter 1 at saka chapter 2, diba nagpo-proceed tayo agad sa chapter 3. And then, dun sa chapter 3, yun yung ating methodology, right? Now, dun natin nilalagay kung ano yung methods of data collection natin, or ano yung mga process or mga methods na gagawin natin to collect our data, na magiging support or evidence of our study. Now, saan ba tayo nagkukuha ng data natin, or ano ba yung methods natin of data collection? So first is we have the census. So census, this is the procedure of systematically acquiring and recording information about all members of a given population. So take note of this term, all members, okay, of a given population. Okay, so for example, have you experienced yung may mga nag-house-to-house visit sa inyo na mga taga-barangay? That is an example of census. Kasi every household, is pinupuntahan nila para makakuha sila ng data. and then wala silang mini-miss na bahay. Dapat, kung saan ang lugar yung assigned location nila, for example, Purok Protasio sa Barangay Kalumpang. So, lahat ng mga naninirahan dyan sa Purok Protasio is dapat kunan nila ng data. And that is census. Kasi lahat ng mga naninirahan sa Purok Protasio is members of a given population. And dapat silang lahat, no, is kunan ng data. Okay? Kapag census, all members of a given population or the entire member or the entire elements, no, of the given population, dyan tayo makakuha or maka-acquire at maka-record ng information. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now, medyo magastos si census. Magastos siya sa resources and as well as sa time. So, kaya minsan sa research, sample survey yung ginagamit natin. Okay? Kasi sampling is a selection of a subset within a population to yield some knowledge about the population of concern. So, tingnan niyo, no? Subset lang daw within the population. Okay? The small portion lang of our population. And kaya sa research, sample lang kadalasan yung ginagamit natin. Kasi, yun nga, no? Kahit na small portion lang yan siya ng population, yung kunan natin ng data, it can also help the researcher or the researcher to analyze, no, the parang pulso din ng population. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na inferential statistic kasi we will get a sample from the population, and then kung ano man yung data at saka result, no, na makollect natin from our sample, that will talk also about the entire population. Bale, sila yung mga representative, no? So, kaya, ayan, minsan, no, kapag merong darating na election, di ba, meron tayo parang, ano daw yung pulso ng masa or sino daw yung kanilang bobotohin as a senador or a president. Diba, parang everyday nga yan pinabalita na ganitong percent of the population or ng mga tao is pinili sila si ganito as their mayor or as their president. And sample lang yung kinukuha ng mga naga-survey nun. Okay? So, sample. And sample survey, ito yung 3 main advantages niya. So, cost lower siya. Mas lessen yung mga expense or mas lesser yung expenses natin, no, kapag sample survey lang gamitin natin. And also, the data collection is faster. Kasi nga, subpopulation or small portion lang siya. So, madali lang din siyang makollect. And since the data set is smaller, it is possible to improve the accuracy and quality of the data. No? So, madali lang natin matapos and mas lesser yung expenses natin. Okay? Naintindihan ba? I hope naintindihan. So, when we talk about census, all members. Okay? Kapag sample survey naman or sampling is a subset within the population. Yun yung ating mga keywords dyan. Okay? Now, let's proceed to the experiment. Experiment is performed when there are some controlled variables and the intention is to study their effect on other observed variables. So, anong clue natin dito? We have controlled variables. So, for example, merong isang study and gusto nilang malaman kung effective ba ang fertilizer na na-invent nila, or na-formulate nila. For example, si variable 1, yung plant 1 or group of plants na nasa controlled variables, sila yung makakatanggap ng fertilizer na na-invent ng researcher. While yung hindi naman controlled variables, no, I forgot the right term, yung isang group, no, na hindi makakakuha ng treatment from the, let's say, yung fertilizer, is iba din yung case nila. So, with this, no, it takes time to conduct an experiment kasi oobserbahan, no, kung meron ba talagang significant effect yung fertilizer. So, ito lang yung clue natin. Meron tayong controlled variables dito. And then, si researcher, can intervene, no, or can mediate sa kanyang research. Okay? Now, ang isa namang methods of data collection natin ay si observation study. So, from the term na observation, si researcher or yung nag-conduct ng study is nag-observe lang. Okay? This is appropriate when there are no controlled variables and replication is impossible. This type of study typically uses a survey. So, kung si experiment, merong controlled variable, si observation study naman has no controlled variables. Okay? Walang mga treatment kung tawagin. Walang intervention or just mere observant lang si researcher natin dito. Anong example ng study na observation study yung methods of data collection niya? Ang example niyan is ethnographic study. Are you familiar with the term na ethnographic? Ethnographic, no? If you want to know or if you want to understand the culture of a certain tribe, you will go there, no? And observe their daily life. The way they dress, the way they, yung mga rituals na nila, or the way sila magluto, no? Ng kanilang mga pagkain. Or para mas maintindihan mo yung culture nila, you immerse yourself, no, doon. Pero, wala kang intervention. Observant ka lang. Okay? So, yan ang example ng observation study. No controlled variables. And take note, replication is impossible. Okay? Replication is impossible. Bakit? Kasi, different subject is different din yung ma-observe natin and different researcher is different din yung ma-observe, no? Replication is impossible. And if yung mga psychological behavior, bakit merong mga ganyan term na ngayon, like let's say mga autism, merong ADHD, no? Yung mga behavior, may mga psychological behavior nga iba sa normal kung tawagin natin. Bakit merong mga ganon? Kasi result yun ng observation study. Okay? And then, sinasadihan nila, no, kung ano yung behavior ng bata, kung ano yung paulit-ulit na iba sa kanya or naiiba, no, sa kanya. So, observation study. Is that clear? I hope that's clear. And I hope you're still listening. And I hope you're still taking down notes, no, during my discussion. So, those are the four, okay, the four methods of data collection. So, ano yung first? First is the census, okay? Census, all members of the population. Sample survey naman is just the subset within a population. And also, we have the experiment. We have the controlled variables or merong intervention, si researcher dito. While observation study naman, it has no controlled variables or just mere observant lang si researcher natin dito. Okay, so that's for the methods of data collection. Now, let's proceed to the planning and conducting surveys. So, syempre, na-state mo na, no, kung ano yung methods of gathering of data collection mo. And gagamit ka ng sample, okay? Or let's say sample survey yung pipiliin mo. Now, paano? Okay? But before that, let's describe, no, or let's discuss muna yung characteristics of a well-designed and well-conducted survey. So, a good survey must be representative of the population or the given na number of population mo, no? So, galing sa whole population. So, dapat representative talaga siya, no? Or nire-represent niya yung entire population natin. And also, to use probabilistic results, it always incorporate a chance. So, probabilistic result. So, mean to say, lahat ng mga persons in a population has a chance na mapili as your sample. Okay? There is a chance for them na mapili as your sample. And, syempre, sa mga survey questionnaire natin, the wording of the question must be neutral or there should be no bias, kumbaga. Now, neutral, no? Mean to say, hindi always negative yung appearance or let's say negative yung thought ng ating question. No? So, dapat neutral lang siya. Kasi minsan, there are questions no, sa survey questionnaire na nag-lead na ng sagot sa ating mga participant. So, ano bang example niyan? Example na survey question or survey item no, sa isang questionnaire. ELMS is not helpful. Yun yung statement. ELMS is not helpful. So, masyadong negative na siya or masyadong bias yung dating ng ating statement. So, that's why, importante na i-avoid natin yung mga ganun na mga statement or pag-construct ng statement, no? Kasi nag-lead na siya sa ating mga participant ng sagot. Okay? So, the word of the question must be neutral or dapat maintindihan agad ng ating mga respondents, no? What your question is all about or para saan yung ating question. And letter D, possible sources of errors and biases should be controlled. So, ayan. Possible sources of errors and biases should be controlled. Okay? Now, as what I've said though, after natin makapili ano yung methods of data collection natin, so syempre, paano natin pipiliin yung mga respondents natin? So, kapag sample survey, ito yung ating mga different sampling methods. Okay? So, sampling method, it has two types. We have the probability sampling and then the non-probability sampling. So, what is the difference between these two? So, when we talk about probability sampling, it is a probability technique in which the subject of a population gets an equal opportunity to be selected as a representative of a sample. So, meaning to say, for example, ang population is BSTM na mga student. Now, kung kukuha ka ng sample ngayon from the BSTM students, no, lahat ng mga students ng BSTM has an equal opportunity na mapili. Pero, hindi naman silang lahat ang possible na pipiliin mo. Depende din sa study, no? Maliban na lang kung census yung gagamitin mo. Pero kapag sample survey lang, ayan, hindi lahat is mapili as your respondents. That's why meron tayong mga different methods dito. And we will talk about that later. Now, this time, i-compare muna natin, no? Anong kaibahan ng dalawa. While non-probability naman, dito, the population have no chance of selection or whether the probability of selection can't be accurately determined. So, no chance of selection. So, dito na medyo bias yung pagpili mo ng participants mo kasi ikaw mismo yung lalapit sa kanila. Pero meron tawag dyan, no? Meron tayong specific na sampling method dyan kapag non-probability sampling yung gagamitin natin. And also, aside daw sa randomness, yung pagpili ng ating mga participants kapag non-probability, nag-base din daw tayo sa criteria. Okay? We are basing from the criteria. So, for example, let's say, ang gusto mo or ang participants mo is about sa mga students na ano ba? Ano bang pwedeng example? Sorry. Artist na lang, no? Artist. Like, yung student na, ay sige, ito na lang. Student na nagabenta for an extra income. Yan. So, syempre, yun yung criteria mo. Student na nagabenta. So, you have an idea na, no? Kung sino yung mga student na nagabenta sa loob ng klase or sa labas ng klase. So, you purposefully go to them. And pinili mo agad sila as your respondent. So, hindi siya random, no? Kasi meron kang criteria or meron ka ng preconceived idea na this person is pasok sa criteria mo. So, no chance of selection talaga or no chance para sa ibang population or para sa ibang member ng population na mapili kapag non-probability. Okay? So, I hope that's clear. Basta sa probability sampling, merong equal opportunity na ma-select yung representative natin. Non-probability naman, no chance of selection or cannot be accurately determined, no? Yung probability mo na mapili. And also, nagbabase siya sa criteria natin. Okay? I hope that's clear. Now, let's talk about the different sampling method natin. So, under sa non-probability sampling is we have there the convenience sampling. Convenience sampling is where samples are selected from the population only because they are conveniently available to the researcher. So, from the term itself, no, convenience. Conveniently available. Kung sino lang daw yung conveniently available, no, para sa mga researcher, or willing to take part sa survey or sa study, syempre, sila na daw agad yung magiging sample mo. And yung gamit ng sampling method mo dito ay si convenience sampling. Okay? Kung sino daw yung willing to take part, available during that time, or conveniently available sa ating mga researcher, sila yung magiging sample nila. So, like this illustration, no? Kung sino lang daw yung available during that time to take part sa survey, sila yung automatically magiging sample nila hanggang sa makomplete mo yung kakailanganin mo. Okay? For example, a researcher in a company asked passersby on a street corner their opinions about building a new business building in a nearby area. Ayan, mga passersby, no? Random people. Okay, and then, kung sino yung willing na mag-take part ng survey, automatically, no? Yun na yung magiging sample niya. Hanggang sa makompleto yung number of person na need niya. Okay? Sige. So, another type of non-probability sampling ay si quota sampling. Dito naman, no, meron tayong specified proportions dito. Okay? The researcher is gumagamit when judgment is used to select the subjects based on specified proportions. So, kanina sa convenience sampling, random people siya. Okay? Or kung sino lang yung conveniently available. Hanggang sa kuha mo yung needed na data. Dito naman is meron siyang proportion. And then random people din ito, no? Na pipiliin mo as your respondents. Pero meron ka lang quota. Okay? Meron ka lang goal na number of person na pipiliin. So for example, an interview or interviewer may be told to sample 200 females and 300 males between the age of 45 and 60. So as you can see, no, merong proportion. 200 females lang daw at saka 300 male. And then ano daw yung criteria? Aged, ang mga person na age 45 and 60. So, quota sampling. So, pipili sila ng 200 hanggang sa mabuo nila tong 200. Okay? Is that clear? Any question? So, if you have question, you feel free to comment or message the teacher, no? Okay, let's proceed. So, those are the two types of non-probability sampling natin. We have the convenience and the quota sampling. Now, let's proceed to the probability sampling. So first is we have the simple random sampling, or also known as the SRS. All samples have a given size of an equal of probability of being selected, and selections are independent. So what does it mean? So isa sa mga criteria natin dito, no, sa simple random sampling is dapat meron kang fixed na list of your population na kunan ng sample. Okay? Meron ka dapat ditong listahan ng mga tao. And each person is merong assigned na number sa kanila. So for example, sa class list, sa isang klase, let's say merong 41 student. Okay? Number 1 is si ganito. Number 2 is si ganito. Number 3 is si ganito. Ganyan, ganyan. Okay? Each person in the class list is merong na-assign na number sa kanila. Now, using a random number generator, no, gagamit si researcher ng ganon to generate a number. Okay, for example, using the Excel. Actually, meron itong formula sa Excel, no? So, let's say, pag i-input na natin sa Excel and then ang na-generate na number is 2. So, kung sino yung number 2 sa listahan, siya yung magiging sample mo. And then another run. Another number is generated. Let's say ang na-generate is 10. Okay, sino yung number 10 sa listahan? So, siya yung magiging sample mo. Hanggang sa mabuo, no? Or makomplete mo yung needed mo na sample. Naintindihan ba? Okay, para mas madali. I-compare natin siya sa fishbowl method. Yung bunot-bunot, kumbaga. All the names of participants is put inside the bowl. Okay? And then, the researcher will randomly pick paper. And then, kung sino yung nandun na name, siya yung magiging sample niya. Hanggang sa mabuo niya, no? Or makakomplete siya ng needed niya na samples. Okay? Is that clear? So, I hope that's clear. And also ito din, no? The school authorities want to know the percentage of the teacher in their school who like the new set of school uniform. So, syempre, teachers daw, yung criteria niya dito. Mga teachers. So, sa isang school, bakit? Random ba yung mga teachers natin dyan? Diba? Hindi. Fixed yung listahan ng mga teachers natin dyan. Or fixed yung dami ng mga teachers. Now, they will randomly select ngayon ng teacher para i-interviewin. Okay? So, I hope that's clear. And let's proceed to the second type of probability sampling, which is the systematic sampling. So, systematic sampling relies on dividing the target population into subpopulation or strata of equal size, and then selecting randomly one element from the first stratum and corresponding elements from all the other strata. What does it mean? Ano daw to siya? So, dito, no? Let's say, ang example nito is ito. Every 8th student entering the cafeteria will be interviewed regarding his or her satisfaction with its new management. So, every 8th student, kung sino daw yung ikawalo na papasok sa cafeteria, siya daw yung i-interviewin or pangiging sample ng ating researcher. Okay? So, syempre, sa first 7 student na papasok sa cafeteria, hindi yun ang magiging sample niya, pero yung ikawalo. Okay? And then, another 7 student ang papasok, yung ikawalo naman ang kukunin as the sample. That is systematic sampling. Okay. Meron din tayong formula para dito, no? Or meron tayong another term for the systematic sampling. No, not other form. But, let's say yung maaari nating intindihin or maaari nating i-connect sa systematic sampling. Itong kth term or kth element na lang. Kth element natin. So, sorry for that. Element yan siya ha. Element. Okay. So, what does it mean? So, meron tayong formula actually para dito. That is K is equal to N over N. Yung capital letter N, yan yung total population ng kunan mo ng sample. While yung N naman, yan yung needed mo. Okay? Needed mo na sample. Okay, for example, sa isang listahan, merong 100 na total population. That is our capital letter N. And then, kailangan mo lang ng 10. So, meaning to say, 100 divide 10, that is 10. Okay? Kung sino daw yung ika-10 sa listahan, siya yung kukunin mo as your sample. Every 10th person, no, in the list, siya yung kukunin mo as your sample hanggang sa mabuo mo yung needed mo. Okay? Every kth element, that is systematic sampling. Okay? I hope that's clear. Now, another one is the stratified sampling. When the population embraces a number of distinct categories, the frame can be organized by these categories into separate strata. The stratum should be homogeneous, that is, the elements should have a common characteristic. Okay. Kanina, i-group siya or i-divide yung population into strata or subpopulation. Okay? Dito naman, sa stratified sampling, ganun pa rin. I-group siya or categories organized by categories into separate strata. So, ano pa ibig sabihin nito? Si strata natin dito, no, dapat homogeneous daw siya. Meaning to say, meron silang common characteristic. Or, merong common criteria na na-follow? Sige, let's have an example where mas ma-visualize natin, no? In a study of stroke outcomes, we may stratify the population by sex to ensure equal representation of men and women. The study sample is then obtained by taking equal sample sizes from each stratum. So what does it mean? Igugrupo daw muna yung population according to their sex. Merong female and merong male. Okay? So, ano yung strata doon? Ano yung common characteristic? The gender nila. Okay? Merong mga female, merong males. Now, after daw nila mga grupo, no? Saka daw sila random pick ng kanilang sample. Okay? Naintindihan ba? Sige. Also, you want to study about the mental health or the mastery level of the students. Okay, the mastery level of the students of STI Gensan. Okay, ang STI Gensan is masyadong broad. Maraming students dyan. Okay, merong mga different departments. Merong department ng tourism, HM, IT, ICT, no? Meron ding senior high. Now, pipili ka ngayon ng department. So, ang department mo doon is let's say, tourism. Ayan. So, lahat na ng mga students na, lahat na ngayon ng samples mo is mga tourism student. No? That is your strata. Mga tourism student. Kasi iba naman si ICT student at saka si tourism student. 'Di ba? And focus ka kay tourism student. So, lahat ng mga nasa tourism student or lahat ng mga nasa tourism department, no, yan na yung magiging strata mo. And saka ka makakuha ng data na about sa level of mastery or mastery level nila. Okay? Dapat share. They share common characteristic muna based from the criteria na naset mo. Okay? That is stratified sampling. Or usually, gamit ito no kapag gusto i-compare yung mga male at saka female. So, stratified yung ginagamit. Okay? Now, another one is si cluster sampling. Medyo similar siya kay stratified sampling, pero dito no sa cluster sampling is hindi necessary na dapat the same sila ng characteristic or homogeneous yung ating stratum. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, heterogeneous siya. And also, take note, kapag cluster sampling, naturally occurring to siya ng mga group. Okay? For example, barangay, mga districts, mga city or municipality, those are mga naturally occurring na group. Okay? Or even province, no? Yan siya. So, sometimes it is cheaper to cluster the sample in some ways. For example, selecting respondents from certain areas only or certain term periods only. For example, another example nito is all children in 5 chosen districts of a certain province will be taken as a sample for studying the number of children enrolled in a city. So, districts, okay? That is a naturally occurring na group. And heterogeneous, no? Halo-halo yung mga tao nandyan sa district na yan. Merong babae, merong lalaki, merong matanda, merong bata. Okay? Hindi sila nag-share ng common characteristic. They only share the same zone, kumbaga, or place. Okay? Naintindihan ba? Si stratified, dapat common characteristic or the stratum should be homogeneous. Si cluster sampling, hindi necessary, no, na common characteristic sila. Okay? Now, last sampling method is itong si matched random sampling. Matched random sampling, in this method, there are 2 samples in which the members are clearly paired or are matched explicitly by the researcher. Okay, these are the steps natin. So, syempre, meron tayong mga participants. And ang first step, match each participant with its closest partner. So yan, partner sila. Then second step, a participant from each pair gets randomly assigned and the other is automatically assigned to the other group. So meron daw tayo dito mga treatment group at saka control group. Medyo the same siya, no? sa experimental. Or ito yung usually ginagamit kapag experimental yung study mo. Okay? Matched random sampling. Or minsan, pwede din ganito. Merong section 1, let's say dalawang section, and gusto mong malaman kung meron bang significant effect or meron bang significant effect ang paggamit ng, let's say, ELMS for the learning competencies ng mga bata. So, sa section 1, lahat sila, is, ang gamit lang is si ELMS. Now, si section 2 is, ginagamit si ELMS kapag pasahan lang ng mga activity. Sa section 1, ginagamit si ELMS sa pag-deliver ng lesson, sa pagbigay ng activity, and then pag-grade, no? So, ano bang effect daw nito sa learning competency ng mga bata? Okay, so, first, meron kang pre-test, kumbaga. I-check mo muna yung level of competency nila, like giving pre-test, no, or exam. Then, after that, syempre, experimental man, it takes time, no? Lahat ng mga students sa Section A is gagamit ng ELMS. Lahat, no? Mapa-lecture, mapa-activity, doon na. While sa Section 2 naman, merong ELMS, pero pag magbigay lang ng activity. Now, saan daw yung effect doon? So, malalaman siya kapag magbibigay ka na ng post-test. Kasi i-compare mo na ngayon yung result from pre-test sa result sa post-test. And that's it, no? Kung ano man yung result doon malalaman kung effective ba talaga si ELMS. So, yung clue lang natin dito, no, is meron tayong pairs. Yung isa is merong treatment, yung isa is control, no? Or walang treatment, kumbaga. Okay? Is that clear? Sige. Now, let's try to determine what sampling method is applicable or used for the following scenarios. So, every fourth-year college students entering the university will be interviewed as to whether he or she wants to retain the dress code policy inside the campus. So, what sampling method? Okay, this is systematic. Bakit systematic sampling? Kasi sabi dito, every fourth year college student na papasok sa university. Okay, every kth element, no? Yun yung kanilang sample. So this is systematic sampling. Number 2, employees of a certain factory are grouped according to gender. An equal number of representatives from each group will be interviewed regarding their level of satisfaction with their salaries. So what is this? Okay, this is stratified sampling. Kasi i-group mo yung employees according to gender. Okay, group according to gender. So dito, meron silang common characteristic. So yung criteria is gender. Now, yung stratum natin is homogeneous. Merong female, merong male, no? Now, number 3, all private school teachers in the 1st District of Quezon City will be taken as a sample for the study on their opinion on the new policies of the Department of Education. So, klarong-klaro, meron tayong clue dito. Merong 1st District of Quezon. And this is naturally occurring na group. So, meaning to say, ang tawag ng method na gagamitin natin dito is cluster sampling. And number 4, a news reporter interviews random individuals who walk by on the street to get a quick response of public opinion about the new foreign policy. Okay, this is convenience sampling. So, random individuals who walk by on the street. That is our clue. So, this is convenience sampling. And number 5, a researcher conducts a survey about career plans of 100 students. Technically, the samples have to proportionate the number of males and females. So, he chooses 50 males and 50 females. So, proportionate daw dapat. And then, meron daw 50 males and 50 females daw dapat. So, this is quota sampling. Okay? And lastly, a study on economic status of all the credit card holders in a certain bank will be conducted. The bank has 10,000 credit card holders and an alphabetical list of these card holders is available. Using calculator, 200 random numbers will be generated to get the 200 respondents from the alphabetical list. Okay, merong alphabetical list ng mga respondents. And then, number generated. So, anong sampling method to? Okay, this is simple random sampling. So, this is the answer key of our activity. So, I hope that's clear. I hope you follow yung mga topics natin or naintindihan. If you have question, you can just message me or comment sa video na ito. So, please see my post for the assignment. Okay, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you learned something and see you next meeting. Goodbye. Ingat kayo and God bless everyone.